Welcome everyone, I'm King of Valence, and thanks for watching this Spore speedrun challenge. Today, we're going to attempt to beat Spore as quickly as possible from cell stage to the center of the galaxy on hard difficulty without taking any damage. If we do take any damage during this run, we will have to immediately reload to a previous save. However, it would be a bit too cheesy if we could just save and quit or call a mate and hide in the editor after eating any amount of food, so we will only call a mate and save once when we reach these growth points on the timeline. During cell stage, we only have to look out for our cell not taking damage, but in later stages, our no damage requirement will extend to cover anything under our direct protection, including packmates, tribal and city buildings, and vehicles as well. I want to thank Roumes for pointing me towards a video by Obsidian time doing this challenge and where I got this idea from. The start of cell stage went fairly smoothly. Our goal during this first bit of cell stage is to unlock the spike part, but we have to take down a pokey cell ourselves to unlock it, being careful not to get poked by their spikes. We started as a carnivore cell to attack the other cells early, and the mouth can deflect other carnivore mouths to avoid taking damage as well. Eating enough meat to reach the next section of cell stage, and we'll call a mate and add those spikes. We're still on the perfect run, but we suddenly ran into some spike shysters. We can try deflecting their spikes with ours, but they're still on the chase. Eventually they did catch up and get us, so back in time we go, and I'll keep track of how many times we take damage and need to retry throughout the run. Those spike shysters got us again. We got lucky this time and didn't run into any of them, and we reached our next growth point safely into the editor. Sneaking up on one of these booster cells, the boosters are usually pretty aggressive and try to bite us, but we can angle our spikes into their mouth to damage them. That's generally the strategy for a lot of the cell stage. Use our mouth to deflect when we need to, and spike their mouths to attack. Although a 2-on-1 is more difficult, trying our best to spike and block, and they got us. We're up to 3 damages taken. This time finding booster cells by themselves to pass this section without taking damage, and add the herbivore mouth. From here, we got a great run, making it far into cell stage without taking any more damage, dodging poisons, not getting spiked, and getting lucky with large plant pieces. If we add poison and the electric cell parts, we'd be immune to that kind of damage. But those are pretty expensive, and I found that being an omnivore and having more speed on our cell was more advantageous to passing sections quickly and running away from predators. Though we have to be careful, this buzzy cell is charged up. Let's just back away slowly and give up that food. We'll be able to find some food elsewhere. There's plenty to go around. This challenge requires some patience, not wanting to lose the progress we've made so far. Definitely some good luck this run, evolving straight into another large plant. I considered finding a mate to take a save, but was feeling confident to pass this section as well in one attempt. Thanks to that squiggly cell for taking that electrocute for us, that could have easily hit us instead. And we found plenty of meat right here. However, our free ride comes to an end. Reaching the last 2 sections, this is where cell stage on hard gets really difficult for this challenge. There are a lot of aggressive cells in this part of the tide pool. And interestingly, it appears the junior cells are able to bite our cilia between our spikes. I wasn't expecting the other cells to be able to target the cilia without being hit by the spikes first. I could usually get 2 jabs in, but the rhythm to get the 3rd spike in a row was hard to get just right and they'd bite us. We finally made it through after about 7 minutes, and we call in the mate and our cell decides to call in place and doesn't start swimming over, and the paw gets us right before we could escape. We have to try that part over again. Thankfully, we managed to complete this section again after a couple more tries. Previewing the last part of the tide pool, there are paws everywhere. Hopefully we find the mate. There we go, taking 17 tries to reach the next editor and save point. We'll add another flagella to increase our speed so we can swim around faster. Quickly checking the history, we are in the omnivore range. Our goal is to finish in the carnivore range out of cell stage, so we'll try to prioritize eating meat until the end of the stage. The mega mouths are easier to spike in their mouths, and the juniors can be eaten as well. Eating the juniors here don't count towards the timeline unfortunately, but will allow us to eat the meat they're nearby. Looking for a maw and quickly eating the junior eggs before they hatch, and we beat the last section of cell stage first try. And to show every section was completed without taking damage, I'll link a segmented version of the full run in the description. Let's advance into creature stage, following the history timeline, and it looks like we finished in the carnivore range. What? Spore thinks we finished as an omnivore? It gave us the omnivore card on top. But the arrow is totally pointing in the carnivore range, the background's even red. Oh well, carnivore would have given us the invulnerability in civilization stage and the powermonger in space stage, but at least we get summon flock in creature stage. Just like the speedrun, we'll put on legs, then hold control on the keyboard to separate the limbs to make arms and legs. This will save us a little DNA not needing arms going into creature stage. We'll still limit the amount of mates and saves in creature stage. We'll save at the start of each stage, except this time we can only enter the editor and save once we reach these evolution points on the timeline. Limiting the amount of times we can call a mate is still important, as we can use the editor to replenish our hunger for free and keep us from taking starving damage. We'll allow the first 2 nests like normal, which will allow us to reach the first evolution marker for us to call in a mate. In the editor, we'll give our creature all social parts, including sing, dance, charm, and pose. This is essentially going to be a pacifist run with the extra precaution of not taking any damage. I wasn't expecting to have any summon flock creatures during this run, but they were also under our protection and not allowed to take any damage. So we'll have to be careful with all of these creatures. We can't allow any of them to get attacked while we ally these nests. Creature stage is going pretty smoothly. There's plenty of ambivalent nests nearby. Though some aggressive creatures are coming over, let's give them some space. We can finish allying this nest away from those creatures. The meteorite is approaching. We can't ally the creatures during this time, but this event does spread the creatures out. With all the creatures on their own, they won't recruit help during the Simon Says. We can ally these creatures with a 3-on-1, over-impressing them for a DNA bonus. Passing into the last section of creature stage, since this is our last opportunity to edit the creature before finishing creature stage, we can take a moment to unlock some additional parts to give our creatures some higher social skills. We can't afford everything, but we did manage level 4 social parts with level 5 pose. Finding more creatures to socialize with, we didn't run into any trouble, no small rogue packs, epics, or aggressive creatures coming out of nowhere. Finishing up creature stage, and we manually migrated to the coastline to help our tribal and civilization stage selves out later. Before we leave creature stage, we need to add packmates of a different species. They will become our domesticated pets and lay eggs for us in tribal stage. These horn monster creatures will do the job, recruiting 3 of them to our pack. During tribal stage, these creatures will also be under our protection and won't be able to take damage as well. Advance into tribal stage, and we finish creature stage as social, and we can edit our creature once more. We'll put on level 5 feet for level 5 speed, and we'll get the survivor achievement for finishing creature stage without dying. But not only did we not die, we didn't even take any damage. As we enter tribal stage, we'll add the level 3 gathering and social gear in the tribal outfitter. And same as creature stage, any additional saves and edits to our creature will need to wait until we reach these points on the timeline. Our tribe members will collect some fruit. The eggs from our pets was a backup in case there were aggressive creatures nearby, but thankfully it looks like we're safe here. Brown tribe spawns in, and they were angry towards our tribe. We have the fireworks to bring them up to friendly, however the relationship boost is only temporary, and they will eventually return to angry towards our tribe. Same is true for the gifts, but that only brings them up to ambivalent. However, big thanks to Soul's Soul, who explained if we gift another tribe member directly instead of the tribe's food pile, the tribe will not reduce the relationship. This is great. I can't believe I didn't know this. I would always gift the food pile because the tribe member's AI and pathing are really bad and the food pile was more consistent. But gifting another tribe member where they pick the gift up themselves, they will stay ambivalent and they won't get angry over time. No need to rush to getting instruments and bringing them up to friendly as quickly as we can anymore. Just gift them and they'll wait for us. After enough gathering, we can afford the wooden horns. All buildings, tribe members, and our domesticated animals are all under our protection and are not allowed to take damage. But we'll be performing for all the other tribes just like a pacifist run, so that should be fine. The next 3 tribes spawn in, and we can gift their individual members directly as well. Since their pathing is still pretty bad, we'll make sure to send one of our members at a time to each tribe, and pick someone out in the open from their tribe to make sure it all goes smoothly. Pink tribe is busy fighting an epic, so no one is available, so we'll gift the food pile. We'll make sure to perform for them first. Thankfully the other tribes are now stabilized, perform for Pink to raise them to friendly. And we might as well try to ally while we're here. Unfortunately, we couldn't fill the performance meter with only 4 band members playing against a 9-member tribe. One of our members needs to stay home to prevent wild animals from spawning and potentially fighting our pets. That's okay, Pink won't lose their friendly status, so we can ally the brown 6 out of 6 tribe. The challenge for this part of tribal stage is not allowing our tribe members to take starving damage. Some got pretty close, but we made sure they ate something in time. There's cyan and green tribes allied, and lavender tribe appears. We'll send the chieftain with the gift over to lavender. Watching closely, they don't get attacked on the way. We'll give our members their instruments and have them meet up with the chieftain. Ally lavender and head back to Pink tribe. Oh, there's an epic on the way. Let's run away from them. Thankfully, the epic loses interest and walks away. Pink is allied this time, and that will allow us to advance into civilization stage. We received the Watchful Parent achievement as well, where we complete tribal stage without the death of a single tribe member. But where's my even more Watchful Parent achievement for not even letting them take any damage? For civilization stage, we'll use the Maxis default buildings and vehicles for this run. At the beginning of civilization stage, Obsidian Time used a very clever strategy of using the invulnerability during an attack with religious vehicles to capture a small economic city. Using the invulnerability is the main reason I wanted to be carnivore out of cell stage. However, since we didn't get the invulnerability, we have to use the backup strategy of hopefully getting an economic tank from a tribe. While creature and tribal stage were both done first try without needing to reload, saving here at the start of civilization stage may be necessary. Since what we get from the tribe is random, we'll have to retry until we get what we want. However, both of these methods to start civilization stage are random, as there may not be any economic city spawns either. In that case, we need to reload from the end of tribal stage to refresh the spawns. Once we start and save in civilization stage, the city's locations and specialties are locked in. After a few tries, we got our economic tank. Unfortunately, it's super slow with only 10 speed, and we can't change the tank without controlling an economic city, so we'll have to use this one. We got another economic tank from a second tribe as well. We are now going to start trade routes with Yellow and Orange nations, the two large cities on our home continent. This early in civilization stage, they'll accept a trade route without needing to be friendly. No, an epic shot down one of our tanks. Oh, the epic was hiding under the trees. Back to the start of civilization stage. Other than those planned reloads earlier to get the economic tank, this had been perfect since the start of creature stage. This is the first damage taken in a while. We have to get the economic tank again, but the strategy is still the same. We still want to start trade routes with the two large cities and improve our relationships to avoid war. We got lucky again with another second economic tank, but we will sell our other tanks since we won't be needing them. The path to trade with Orange Nation appears safe from the epics, but that epic is still in the way of Yellow. We at least need the trade route accepted, but we don't need to actively trade on it, especially if there's an epic in the way. We'll just take a wide path around to Yellow. Orange and Yellow nations accept the trade routes. Looks like the trade route path doesn't cross the epics, so hopefully it'll be safe to travel there. We didn't capture any spice geysers, less liabilities to protect. In this way we allow Yellow and Orange to capture them and hopefully build up their armies enough for one of them to take over the rest of the planet. Our strategy from here is to trade an ally with both of them so we can buy the remaining 3 cities on this continent and merge to beat civilization stage. Yellow Nation is on the attack against Forest Nation, so we'll give Yellow some gifts to keep them from declaring war once they capture the city. This is also helpful as this city is much closer to ours and should make trading faster and avoid that epic. Checking on the rest of the world, Red and Blue nations appear to be making decent progress, so we'll give them compliments. But Blue Nation will definitely win as they are capturing the fourth city and Red is encountering the religious capture glitch and are unable to capture Brown Nation. We'll give Yellow enough gifts to make them friendly so we can trade with the small city. Yellow is moving up to attack Orange Nation, however the strategy begins to change. Seeing Blue Nation will take over the other continent, let's make them friendly too. Blue Nation looks far more powerful than Yellow and Orange, so let's try to ally Blue and have them take over all the remaining cities. Once Blue captures the last city on the other continent, we're going to ask Blue to attack Yellow's small city on our home continent. Blue capturing this city will allow us to start trading with Blue and is far away from the fighting between Yellow and Orange. And there's the army we paid for. This should be pretty easy for Blue. Orange's strategy has completely fell through. Their city is under attack and almost lost, but instead of defending, they decide to attack Yellow's city. Either way, Yellow and Orange are really just helping Blue Nation by destroying each other's buildings. Blue captures and we start the trade route. Blue and Yellow are now both allies, but we direct Blue to capture Yellow's home city. And there is a huge airplane army heading to do a lot of damage to Yellow's city. Glad we're not responsible for those buildings. Blue captures easily, and Blue captures Yellow's final home city. Our ally Blue controls the other 9 cities, but we still need 4 cities to merge. We can buy the small city, making sure to give a generous bid for some extra relationship points. And we can change our vehicles to fast economic tanks and trade with the other 2 cities to buy them. The North City's trading path looks safe, but that epic is still patrolling near the southern city. Maybe we should buy boats and trade in the ocean just to be safe. Oh no, the turret caught the epic's attention, and the epic is shooting the turret. Hopefully the epic stays away and we can merge before the epic attacks the soon-to-be my city. Just to be safe, we'll trade and buy this northwest city on the other continent far away from that epic. Should be smooth sailing for the boats to trade with that city. Oh great, the epic has stormed the city. In all the challenge runs and all the times playing through Civilization stage, an epic had to enter a city where we can't take any damage. In practically any other scenario this wouldn't have mattered, but of course it happens now. Hopefully Blue will place enough turret to take down the epic by the time we're ready to merge. But there's the city ready to be purchased and the epic is just hanging out in the city. My last save was still at the start of Civilization stage, since I'm only saving at most once when we reach these major milestones on the timeline. I didn't want to risk any religious vehicles potentially getting damaged by charming the epic to possibly pull it away from the city, or get locked into a save where the epic keeps damaging a building or harming a civilian at the end of Civilization stage or at the start of Space stage. So I decided to wait it out, and it took 9 minutes for enough turrets to be placed to kill the epic. The buildings and turrets were still damaged. I wanted to wait for them to be repaired before merging. Everything must be in pristine condition with no remnants of damage taken on one of my buildings. So waiting for that as well took another 6 minutes. So that epic cost me not only my 1 damage taken in Civilization stage, but also 15 minutes towards the run. Anyway, we bought the last city and merged with Blue Nation. Still getting the achievement for completing Civilization stage in less than an hour. Once in space, our goal is now to reach the center of the galaxy without taking any damage on our spaceship. The route we'll use here is exactly the same as the speedrun, getting Frequent Flyer 2 to unlock the Interstellar Drive 2 and head towards this empire. The only difference for reaching space from Civilization stage is we also need to collect an artifact to sell. This empire system has an artifact in it, but what that artifact is and what planet it's on is random each time. Unfortunately, the artifact is on the empire's planet. Stealing an artifact will make them retaliate, so we need to collect it quickly before they can attack back. We got the artifact and that ship fired at us. Quickly make our escape without taking damage, still at 300 health. Ask for a trade route and buy the Interstellar Drive 2. Ooh, we got Ancient Urn of the Spurg. That one sells for a lot. That'll be plenty of money to reach the galactic core. reach the next empires to unlock energy packs, and we'll be able to buy as many as we want. Entering Grok's territory, if we talk to them immediately and don't ignore them on the way to the center of the galaxy, that will prevent them from declaring war. I wanted to see if that would delay their ships from trying to attack us as we head towards the galactic core, but it looks like they will start chasing us immediately anyway. But that doesn't matter, the Groks are too slow and can't hit us. As long as we fly quickly, they won't damage us. Approaching the galactic core, pause for a second to zoom in as much as we can, reach the core, zoom in more, and we made it. Sometimes a Grok ship can hit us as we enter, but we made it through untouched through the entire game on hard difficulty in a little over 2 hours. Here's the final timeline, somehow finishing Cell Stage as an Omnivore, taking damage 20 times, beating Creature Stage and Tribal Stage in the green without taking any damage, short timeline for Civilization Stage, going from Religious and ending as Economic, only needing 2 tries once we got our Economic tank from the tribes, and blasting through Space Stage to the center of the galaxy without a scratch. I like doing these kinds of challenge runs, so let me know what else you'd like me to try in the comments, and check out some other fun challenges here. Thank you so much for watching, I'm King of Valence, and I'll see you next time.